Since the wildcard format was introduced in 1978, we've seen a bevy of stars miss out on postseason success. From dominant pass rushers to record-setting receivers, the playoffs have been cruel to even the very best. This is a list nobody wants to be on, the top 10 players never to win a playoff game. D-tackle Geno Atkins spent his entire career with the Bengals, who made 5 straight playoff appearances from 2011 to 2015, the longest streak in franchise history. Sadly, though, since he was knocked out in the wild-card round in each of those seasons.
The Texans win 31-10, and the season comes to an end for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Looking end zone, fires, touchdown! Touchdown, Ronnie Brown! Goodbye, Cincinnati!
Heaving it to the end zone and incomplete.
The NFL's longest drought without a playoff win continues. It's been 8,400 days. Tomorrow, it will be 23 years.
Atkins appeared in 4 of those playoff games, notching 2.5 sacks. His career spanned 11 seasons, and he made 8 trips to the Pro Bowl. Atkins even earned 2 first-team All-Pro selections in 2012 and 2015, ranking top 10 in sacks and TFLs in those years. No D-tackle in the NFL had more sacks from 2010 to 2020. Hall of Famer Roger Wehrli is known as the original shutdown corner. With 40 career interceptions, it's easy to see why.
Number 22, Roger Wehrli, was thrown into a backfield torn apart by injury. He learned so quickly that he was named an All-Pro in 1970 and led the Cardinals in interception.
He played 14 seasons all with the Cardinals. Sure, Wehrli's prime was pre-wildcard era, but he did play until 1982. The St. Louis legend made 3 total playoff appearances and helped the Cardinals win back-to-back division titles in the mid-70s. Although they lost all 3 postseason games, Wehrli excelled in his playoff debut.
Playing head up on the dangerous wide receivers is All-Pro cornerback Roger Wehrli, number 22.
Wehrli was named first-team All-Pro 3 years in a row from 1975 to 1977. He's the first of many Cardinals greats to follow. Vaunted edge rusher Khalil Mack boasts a Hall of Fame resume with 3 first-team All-Pro selections and a Defensive Player of the Year award.
Intercepted! Mack for the touchdown! And this time he's going to go down. It's going to be picked off by Mack. Mack with the interception. And Mack will take it all the way in for a touchdown.
But something is missing, a postseason win. Mack has made 5 playoff trips with 3 different teams, but the former top 10 pick can't catch a break. In 2016 with the Raiders, Derek Carr was injured and couldn't play in the wild card. Then in 2018, Mack faced the ultimate heartbreak with the Bears.
And he hits the upright again! That's impossible!
Oh my goodness, the Bears' season's going to end on a double doink.
And if you thought that was bad, remember what happened to his Chargers in 2022?
The Chargers in complete control of this game at 27-0 somehow find a way to snatch defeat from the hands of victory.
Mack is cursed with postseason misfortune, but his production certainly isn't. The 8-time Pro Bowler has 3 top 10 finishes in sacks. He led a Bears resurgence in 2018, helping Chicago rank first in takeaways and run defense. Mack has the 2nd most sacks since entering the league in 2014. Let's pause to highlight a few honorable mentions. Mike Quick was a dominant receiver in the 80s and is the only player with a 99-yard overtime touchdown.
Complete to Quick. He's going to go 25-40, 35-40, midfield 45-40, 45-40. Mike Quick, touchdown. The Eagles win. The Eagles win.
He made 5 consecutive Pro Bowl trips but never got over the playoff hump. Philly made 3 straight postseason trips at the tail end of Quick's career, but he only played in one of those contests, the infamous Fog Bowl in 1988. Cardinals safety Budda Baker has endured some tough times in Arizona, but he's been uber productive and a mainstay on the NFC Pro Bowl roster. Baker has proven to be a tackling machine and helped lead the Cardinals to the playoffs in 2021.
Takes a shotgun snap against a five-man rush. He's going to fire deep. AJ Green is open. He bobbles it. He's got it at the 20. Great cut. Still running 10, 5, touchdown!
One of the best receivers of the 2010s. It's shocking AJ Green doesn't have a playoff win on his resume. He lost 5 in a row with former teammate Atkins in Cincy. Then he got another shot with Baker and the Cardinals, losing in 2021. At least Green can hang his hat on 7 Pro Bowl trips and over 10,000 career yards. 5-time Pro Bowl safety Roy Williams made 3 playoff appearances with the Cowboys, losing in brutal fashion in 2006 and 2007.
Oh, it is fumbled by Romo, and then Romo's going to run to the end zone, and he's going to get tackled by Jordan Babineau.
On 4th down, clock running, intercepted, and the New York Giants are 9 seconds away from advancing to the NFC Championship.
Williams closed out his career in Cincy, where his team lost 1 more postseason contest. Tough luck for one of the best safeties of the 2000s. Mel Gray was a teammate of Wehrli on those 70s and early 80s Cardinals, which lost 3 postseason matchups. As one of St. Louis's top receivers, Gray notched 4 Pro Bowls and was named a first-team All-Pro in 1975, sharing the league lead in receiving touchdowns. The poor Cardinals are starting to develop a pattern on our top 10 list. Joining Wehrli and Gray is Hall of Fame lineman Dan Dierdorf, who spent 13 seasons imposing his will on defensive linemen.
Fans here in St. Louis are chanting, "We want Dan." They want Dan Dierdorf 3 times in his career. The rest of the players around the league voted him the best offensive lineman. All-Pro 6 times, Dan Dierdorf has come in the ball game. A last hurrah.
Dierdorf played every position on the O-line, and his versatility helped St. Louis to a top 10 total offense in 5 straight seasons. A 6-time Pro Bowler, 3-time first-team All-Pro, and a member of the 1970s All-Decade team. A shame Dierdorf never saw playoff success. Hard to imagine T.J. Watt is still without a playoff win. The reality is, Pittsburgh hasn't captured a postseason victory since the year before Watt was drafted. Despite 8 seasons without a losing record, the Steelers have consistently struggled in the playoffs, suffering shocking home losses in 2017 and 2020.
And this one made all the way, Fournette to the house, and Leonard Fournette racing 90 yards.
Mayfield throws Chubb, makes the grab, gets some blocking, breaks tackles, and Chubb is going to go all the way to the end zone.
Defense has always been a Steelers staple, and with Watt leading the way, they've been a top 10 scoring unit in the NFL 5 times since 2017. The perennial Pro Bowler topped the league in sacks 3 times from 2020 to 2023, breaking the franchise record along the way.
And down by T.J. Watt, who breaks the Steelers' all-time sack record.
Oh, yeah. Move over, Debo. Here comes T.J. Watt.
Since 2017, no player in the league has recorded more sacks, TFLs, or QB hits. He'll go down as one of the greatest players in Steelers history, and that's saying a lot. Hall of Fame guard Joe DeLamielleure spent most of his life in the Rust Belt. Born in Detroit, played at Michigan State, then drafted to Buffalo, where he blocked for the first 2,000-yard rusher in NFL history.
Simpson running left. Simpson breaking loose. There it is. He's all right. All right.
The Bills' O-line was so dominant they had their own nickname, the Electric Company. DeLamielleure helped O.J. lead the league in rushing twice more, including in 1975, when he set an NFL record for yards from scrimmage.
I think Joe DeLamielleure gives an added dimension by his presence to a football team because he has such outstanding character. He's totally dedicated. He wants to win. He is a winner. And it's this kind of football player that we're going to build the Buffalo Bills.
But the big man only made one playoff trip in his first 7 years with Buffalo. After 3 All-Pro seasons, he joined Cleveland and protected 1980 MVP Brian Sipe. But the AFC Central champs lost in heartbreaking fashion in their first playoff game.
He looks, he throws, and it's a great play that may have been intercepted. Lester Hayes.
The infamous Red Right 88 game was the closest DeLamielleure got to postseason victory. That year marked his 6th and final Pro Bowl appearance. Some more honorable mentions to note, starting with the great Brandon Marshall. He's the only player in league history to record 1,000-yard receiving seasons with 4 different teams.
Throws deep. Touchdown, Brandon Marshall. Pressure up the middle on Henny. He goes deep into double coverage, and the catch is made by Marshall at the 8-yard line.
Cutler to throw, going for Marshall, down the field.
He got it over Joe Hayden.
Fitzpatrick to throw. Deep ball. We're going to test him right away. It's Marshall! Brandon Marshall the grab!
With over 12,000 career yards, it's almost impossible to think the 6-time Pro Bowler never suited up for a single playoff game. Despite not owning a gold jacket, cornerback Lamar Parrish built a Hall of Fame-level resume in the 1970s and early 80s. He picked off 47 career passes with Cincinnati, Washington, and Buffalo, earning 8 Pro Bowl selections in the process. Sadly, Parrish's teams went 0-3 in the postseason. Gerald McCoy, the 3rd overall pick in 2010, had a fantastic 9-year career with the Bucs. He was named to 6 Pro Bowls and earned a first-team All-Pro selection in 2013.
Foles is going to be sacked inside his 30 by Gerald McCoy. That's his 2nd of the game.
But he landed with the Bucs during tough times. One of the top D tackles of his era, was part of just 2 winning teams in Tampa. Like Marshall, McCoy never had the chance to play in a postseason game. Young superstar Justin Jefferson has the most receiving yards in a player's first 5 seasons, so it's likely he'll find playoff success down the road. The 2022 Offensive Player of the Year has an impressive resume, but a playoff win eluded him that season.
If they don't get a first down, the New York Giants win the game. Hurt, throws right, caught Hawkinson shy of the first down, and the New York Giants are heading to Philadelphia.
Did you know Doug English is tied for the all-time lead in safeties? One of the most underrated defensive tackles ever, was a 4-time Pro Bowler with Detroit. English had 13 sacks in 1983, helping the Lions win the NFC Central, but his 2nd and final playoff appearance ended in heartbreaking fashion.
Montana still throwing over the middle. Sullivan, touchdown. 43-yard field goal attempt by Murray to win the game. It is no good. He missed it to the right.
Cortez Kennedy accomplished almost everything in his football career, from an All-American and national champ at Miami to NFL Defensive Player of the Year and eventual Hall of Famer.
On first down, back to the ground with a penalty flag tossed, and Hampton is hit for a loss. Cortez Kennedy with the wraps.
But what about an NFL postseason win? Surprisingly, Kennedy only got 1 shot at it during his 11-year career, a wild card showdown with Dan Marino and the Dolphins in 1999.
2nd and goal. The pitch to Johnson, cuts it back, touchdown. Kitna with time, throws, near side, picked off.
Seattle won just 43% of its games throughout Kennedy's career, but that didn't stop the 8-time Pro Bowler from excelling. He's the Seahawks' all-time leader in sacks among defensive tackles. The 1992 Defensive Player of the Year had the most tackles and tied for the most forced fumbles in the league at his position. Let's not forget how great he was. It's a shame that one of the NFL's greatest safeties never won a playoff game. Hall of Famer Ken Houston spent 14 seasons patrolling the Oilers and Redskins secondaries and made the Pro Bowl in all but 2 seasons. The 9th-round pick from Prairie View A&M set a then NFL record with 4 pick-sixes in a season in 1971.
With the Chargers reeling, he returned his 4th of the year and 9th of his career.
Houston made 2 playoff appearances with the Oilers, losing to the Raiders both times. He was traded to Washington in '73, where he reached the postseason 3 more times, losing nail-biters in his first 2 years.
The Vikings won 27-20, and it was on to Dallas. to play for the championship for the National Football Conference.
Under a withering rush, Jurgensen's arm was hit in mid-pass by Merlin Olsen, and Isaiah Robertson picked off the misdirected missile. Isaiah's amazing touchdown run sealed the Rams' greatest victory of 1974.
Houston tallied 49 career picks and 10 defensive touchdowns in an elite career. You might wonder why Joe Thomas isn't number one on our list. You'll get that answer shortly. Of course, his Browns never made the postseason in the first place. 11 years in Cleveland and just one winning season, which came in his rookie year. Thomas earned the first of 10 straight Pro Bowl trips to start his career.
Whedon takes the snap, getting a blitz. He got blocking, though, and he fires down the middle. Gordon caught it! 25, 30, he's out to the 40, he's to the 50, he's to the 40, he's to the 30, he is gone! 10-5 touchdown!
Yeah, baby! Yeah!
He didn't have it easy, and one of the worst team stretches in NFL history, Cleveland shuffled through 20 starting quarterbacks and 6 different head coaches in his 11 seasons. The Browns bottomed out towards the end of his career, finishing 1-31 from 2016 to 2017.
He's up in the pocket. He got out of a sack. He's running. He's throwing. He dropped the ball over on the left sideline.
And football infamy for the 2017 Cleveland Browns. They joined the 2008 Detroit Lions as the only teams to finish a season 0-16.
Thomas was an absolute pro despite it all, at one point playing 10,363 consecutive snaps, the longest streak since that stat was recorded. Before we reveal the anticipated top spot, let's recognize some legends who didn't benefit from the wildcard era. First up, O.J. Simpson, the first 2,000-yard rusher in NFL history. He won MVP in that 73 campaign and earned 3 more first-team All-Pro selections, but he made just one playoff appearance during his time with the Bills, losing to the Steelers in 74. Deacon Jones coined the term sack on his way to a Hall of Fame career. He's one of 3 players with multiple 20-sack seasons if counting before 1982, and unofficially recorded the 3rd most in NFL history. He reached the playoffs twice with the Rams, failing to capitalize on his fantastic seasons in 1967 and 69. Later in Washington, he fell short again, losing to his former team in the 74 divisional. Gold Jacket owners Gale Sayers and Dick Butkus are forever linked as foundational players for the Bears, selected with back-to-back picks in 1965. Both were 5-time first-team All-Pros, yet they never even made the postseason once. Sadly, the all-time greats had only 2 winning seasons during their time in Chicago.
This is the face of an All-Pro safety. Larry Wilson led the National Football League in interceptions with 10. Wilson ran back 2 of his 10 interceptions for TDs. He returned this one against the Eagles for 91 yards.
Larry Wilson spent all 13 career seasons with the Cardinals and helped pioneer the safety blitz. Although his team won the 1964 Playoff Bowl, it doesn't count toward postseason records. Nonetheless, his 52 career interceptions and 5 consecutive All-Pro selections earned him a place in the Hall of Fame. From one legendary DB to another, Night Train Lane holds the NFL single-season interceptions record with 14 set during his rookie year. His Rams lost a divisional matchup in that 1952 campaign, and he never played in another postseason matchup. The Hall of Famer's 68 career picks ranks 4th all-time. Who but Calvin Johnson could be our number 1 player? Let's highlight Megatron's spectacular career. Even in an 0-16 season back in 2008, Johnson still tied for the most receiving scores in the league.
Looking, and he's got Calvin Johnson. And finally, they find the big man who has it for 6.
3 years later, he led Detroit to its first playoff appearance in 12 years. Despite a blowout in the wild card, Johnson topped the NFL in receiving yards that season. The next year, the 3-time first-team All-Pro set the NFL record for receiving yards in a season.
4-man rush, sets the pocket, throws, got Calvin, there's the record. Calvin turning the corner at the 30, 35, 40, Megatron into the history books, breaking Jerry Rice's all-time record for receiving yards in a season.
Oh, and Johnson's 329 yards against the Cowboys in 2013 are the most ever in a game decided in regulation. His final postseason berth came in 2014 when Detroit narrowly fell to Dallas.
End zone. Touchdown. Terrence Williams. Stafford brought down. Ball out. Dallas gonna win.
Johnson owns every major Lions receiving record despite retiring at age 30. The six-time Pro Bowler compiled the most receiving yards and touchdowns in the league over his 9-year career.
Pump, snap comes back to the left, looking deep, throw into the end zone, wants Calvin, well covered, he goes up, he makes the catch! Are you kidding me? Oh, Megatron, you did it again!